This Let's Dish is all about the most important meal of the day. We'll whip up a variety of oatmeal eats with some great toppings. We'll also prepare a delicious stuffed French toast, and Chef Frank from the Meli Cafe shows us how to make eggs benedict healthy. Ready? Let's dish.
Let's Dish is brought to you by EatBetterAmerica.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Let's Dish. I'm Chris Ketke. So this show is all about breakfast. And I got to tell you, the way it happens in my house, I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do is right here. I'm going to get a good cup of coffee and have a couple cups of this because, frankly, I have a little coffee addiction. And after I have my morning coffee, well, what's next is I start to get a little bit hungry. And then we start talking about breakfast. And I got to tell you what, and maybe you feel the same way as I do, but when I look at breakfast in the United States, they're either pretty unhealthy or they're really boring. I mean, how many times can you sort of eat the same thing over and over again? So on this show, we're going to do healthy breakfast, and we're going to do breakfasts that are, well, fun and interesting. And the first one we're going to do is oatmeal. And I know you've had oatmeal, and I know you've heard about oatmeal. It's good for you and all that. I can tell you that I had a little cholesterol issue, and I started doing the oatmeal thing, and I tell you what, it really helped bring the oatmeal down, bring the cholesterol down. But let me tell you how I'm going to do that, because oatmeal, it can be kind of boring, but it can really be good, and that's what we're going to do here. So before we begin, there are two kinds of oats that you can buy in the store, and they're right over here. You can see they're a little bit different. You get a good close-up on that. Over here you have the rolled oats, and those are basically, you take that oat, which is a whole grain, and you flatten it basically, and it gets nice and flat, and that's called rolled oats. The other one is called steel cut. And what that means, if you look at the real big difference here, what that means is that we're going to take the grain and we're going to break it or chop it into pieces instead of flattening it. Now, what does that mean? Well, it has a lot to do with how they're cooked. They cook totally differently and has a totally different texture. Take a look at this. I'm going to bring over the two that I cooked earlier so you can see the difference. This right here is that rolled oats, the one that you've probably had many times, and this one right over here is a steel cut. And the steel cut, it's going to give you more of a mouthfeel, sort of more of a bite, if you will, and a lot of people, including me, I love this. So I'm going to go ahead and cook this, but here's the trick. Most people cook oatmeal in water, because that's what it says on the back of the package. But it's way better than that, is to cook it in soy milk. And this is sweetened, vanilla-flavored soy milk, because now you get a double whammy from a health side. You got the oats and the soy together. So to make the steel cut, I'm going to take 4 cups of that vanilla sweetened soy milk. Into that, I put 1 cup of the steel cut oats. Just drop it right in there. I'm going to bring that to a boil, and then it has to simmer. And that's going to take quite a while, about 45 minutes to simmer. But when you're done, take a look. You get all that wonderful sort of crunchiness from that particular oatmeal. So we're going to come back to that later. That's the oats. Really easy. But let's make 2 different toppings, because while this is going to be wonderful from a health benefit, and you know what? That soy is going to give it a real creaminess. Here's 2 really fast toppings that we can do. The first is a blueberry sauce. Watch this. You think blueberry sauce sounds fancy? Sounds like it's going to take a long time. 1 pound of blueberries, fresh blueberries. Very simply, I take a ½ cup of real maple syrup. It has to be the real stuff, not the imitation stuff, not the same thing at all. Into that, 4 pinches of ground cardamom. And cardamom, get a good shot of this right over here. Cardamom are these little seed pods here, and inside of that, let's see if I can break that open for you. There you go. You can see those nice little tiny seeds. That is cardamom. We grind it up to get the ground cardamom. Now watch this. So simple to do. You just mix that up, and then into the microwave it goes. It's going to go into the microwave for 2 minutes. You take it out, stir it up, put it back in for 2 minutes, stir it up again, and take a look. We made instant blueberry sauce. It's fantastic. You can eat it warm, or if you want, hey, you know what? Here's one right over here. You can just cool it off a little bit. It'll thicken a little bit as it cools, and you can put that right on top of the oatmeal. All right, last one. Another quick one. We're going to take 1 cup of walnut pieces, put them onto a baking sheet, put them in the oven, 350 degrees, and it's going to take, about 10 minutes till you can smell them. They smell great, brings out the oils and the flavors. I'm going to toss it into a glass bowl or into a nice sturdy bowl. Watch this. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar right on top of those hot. It's got to be hot, got to be hot. And then 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and this is the fun part. Take a sturdy coffee cup, a little mug here, and just smash away. And what you're doing is bringing out the oils in the walnuts, and it's mixing with the cinnamon and the brown sugar. And again, it's just, so many times I wish that we could sort of broadcast the smells, because this smells absolutely incredible. And so this is it. You just sort of smash this. And if you want, you can put this nice and hot like it is. That is beautiful. Look at that. You can put this right on top of the oatmeal hot, or you know what? Make it the day ahead of time. And then very simply, when you wake up in the morning, you're kind of tired, scoop up that oatmeal, put that walnut on top, and that is super delicious. And talk about healthy. When we come back, we'll make stuffed French toast with pear and dried blueberry sauce. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Let's Dish. Okay, so we finished up that oatmeal and those 2 delicious toppings. I don't know if your mouth is watering like mine was. But anyways, let's move on to our next dish. Before we do that, we need a little music. How about a little sort of peppy morning music? Okay, perfect. All right. So the next dish is a French toast. And, I love French toast. I suspect you love French toast. It's one of those, traditional morning dishes. But it can get a little boring. And as I said in the beginning of the show, breakfast doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun, and it can be delicious, and it can be healthy. So let's make some stuffed French toast, a little bit different. The first thing we're going to do is make the stuffing. So what is it going to be? Well, take a look over here. This is one of these great ingredients that is so perfect for healthy eating. This is this is cream cheese, and it's fat-free cream cheese. And it's perfect because, well, you take the fat out, first of all, and secondly, it has a texture that when you heat it up, it tends not to melt so much, which is perfect to put inside the French toast. So here you go. I have 1 cup or 8 ounces of the cream cheese, fat-free cream cheese, softened as you can see, and then into that, here go all the ingredients, because we need to add flavor to this. So we're going to start with a little sweetness and flavor. That's 4 teaspoons of honey. Remember, when you use honey, buy the best honey you can get because it has better flavor. I'm going to put a little bit of acidity in there, and that is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just going to sort of start stirring that up. And again, so simple to do. By the way, you could do this the night before if you wanted to. You can't make the French toast the night before. Wish you could. But you can do all the rest of it. So I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. And then into this goes 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. Remember, that's the outside of the lemon. Just the colored part, not the white part. The white part is bitter, it's nasty. And then here we go. I'm going to put in a little bit of vanilla extract. That's just a 1/2 teaspoon, doesn't take that much. And then ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. That's going to give us not only flavor, but a little bit of spice there. So with that is all mixed up, let's go ahead and stuff up that French toast. But you know what? Before we do that, let's go ahead and mix the mixture that we're going to, well, dip the French toast. And this is normal. You've seen this before, I'm sure. 2 eggs. Put those in there. And 2 egg whites. Now, you might say, why the egg whites and the eggs, and how does that all work? Well, remember, in the egg, a lot of the fat and the cholesterol is going to come in the egg yolk. But the thing is, egg yolks also taste great, and they're also going to give us that beautiful color, and quite frankly, they're also loaded in nutrients. So take a look what I'm doing here. I'm just whisking up those eggs, and you want to whisk them up a little bit just to sort of break them up a little bit. And then it'll make it easier to dip your French toast. Put the bread in there. Into that, 1/2 cup of skim milk. And now I have to whisk that a little less vigorously, or we're going to have it all over the cutting board, which is one of the things about doing it in a cake pan. You've got to be careful how you mix it, but it's perfect for dipping it in a little bit. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and make our French toast. So you're going to see right over here, I have whole wheat bread. Remember, we want that whole wheat in there. Whole wheat bread, I trimmed off the edges. There's a good reason why we did that, because what I'm going to do is take that stuffing, take that cream cheese stuffing, I'm just going to put a nice dollop, look at that, right in the middle of one of those pieces of bread. And then I take a little brush here and just brush, you really want to brush this on very heavily here, some of that egg and milk mixture, brush it on, put a lot on there. Because what this is the glue, because we're going to put this right on top, and then you just take a look at this. This is the fun part. You just smash this. You can use a fork if you want, but you know what? It's a lot more fun with fingers. Basically, you're making a ravioli. Look at that. You made a ravioli using bread. And then all I need to do is take this, and then just like you would do normally, soak it into this egg and milk mixture. And this is what it looks like right over here. We're going to saute it. Remember, a non-stick pan is great because I can use less fat. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to saute until they're nice and brown. Now, you want a topping for this? Really fast topping. So simple to do. You're going to take a can of pears in pear juice or a can of pears in light syrup. Avoid the heavy syrup here. And you want to take a 29-ounce can. You'll see the pears, we chopped them up a little bit. Can you see that right inside the pot? Chop them up a little bit. Have the juice in there. And then this is how simple it is. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. You're going to get that flavor. A bunch that just went poof into the air, so I'm probably going to sneeze in about 2 seconds here. And then a 1/4 cup of dried blueberries. I love dried blueberries. It gives it a great flavor and a great color because, take a look over here. This is what it looks like once you bring it up to a boil. You want to simmer it for a few minutes. And then all I have to do is thicken it up. So simple to do. 3 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm going to mix it with my finger. That's the fun part. Get to put your finger in the food there. And remember, when you use cornstarch, the water has to be cold. And all I do, it's called a slurry, by the way. All I do is just take this. I'm going to pour that right into the pear mixture. What you have to do, 2 things. When you use cornstarch, be sure to stir right away when you pour it in. Bring it up to a boil, and that's ready to go. Spoon it on top of your French toast. It's beautiful. Coming up after the break, Chef Frank from Meli Cafe in Chicago shares his recipe for Eggs Benedict, made healthy. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. All right, I'm on to my second cup of coffee, and for the very simple reason that I've brought in a guest who's going to do the cooking this time, and I'm just going to sort of, stand and watch, which is perfect. So I'd like to introduce you to a great breakfast chef of a great breakfast restaurant here in Chicago. This is Frank Georgakopoulos, executive chef of the Meli Cafe. Welcome to Let's Dish. And so should I put
coffee good?
It's not bad. It's not bad. Should I put it down and maybe help you here?
So
all right. So earlier in the show, Frank, I talked about the fact that breakfast, it can be fun, it can be cool, it can be exciting. And so often it's not. But I know I've eaten at your wonderful restaurant, and it is exciting. So what are we going to do today? Because you've got some cool stuff here.
What we're going to do is do a healthier version of the classic Eggs Benedict. By classic, we're talking about hollandaise sauce, we're talking about bacon, we're talking about English muffin, and of course the egg.
So we're talking serious calories.
We're talking serious calories. So what we're going to do here is take a little bit healthier approach. We're going to substitute out for a quick tomato salsa, we're going to use fresh vegetables, and we're going to use a whole grain toast.
Awesome.
So let's get started.
Let's do it. So tell me what we're going to do here.
First thing we're going to do, obviously, get your poaching liquid, but we'll talk about that going.
Okay.
And we're going to start with the spinach.
All right.
Baby spinach, most important thing that everyone should remember is to clean. Basically by holding it, pulling down, and removing the stem. The reason we do this is spinach cooks fairly fast. The stem doesn't.
Got it?
Pretty easy.
So it's not so great otherwise.
Not so great, no.
Okay.
So we got a hot pan going. We'll put a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon. There.
And it is, you can see the oil, that is a hot pan. Should I put this right in?
If you would mind, add the spinach, please.
I can do that.
You got a nice little sizzle going on there.
Hear it sizzle, all right.
And then just stir it. It should go fairly fast, maybe about top 30 seconds.
All right, here we go.
While Chris is doing that, we're going to talk about a little bit of a, as I like to call it, a quick tomato salsa. What we'll do is take a large bowl. We'll put in 1 tomato diced small. We'll add about a 1/4 cup of red onion, diced the same way. At this point, I like to put a little salt in there to get all the juices going, as I like to call them. A little pepper, your choice, either black or white.
And this is, so this is a totally raw salsa.
This is a totally raw salsa.
We're not going to cook it.
Okay. Keep it fresh, keep it aromatic, keep it everything. We're going to put in a little bit of jalapeno. Now, this is totally up to you. If you like it spicy, you put in a lot. If you like it mild, you put in a little bit. I like it spicy, so.
And seeds and veins and everything's in there?
Seeds, veins, everything's in there, yes.
Okay, great.
I don't like to hold back. We'll put about a pinch of cilantro, which equates to about a tablespoon.
Okay.
And then my favorite part is we'll put in a little acid, or in this case, lemon juice. So squeeze a little bit of fresh lemon juice in there.
Wonderful.
Okay, a little bit more salt.
You know, I got to tell you, hot food for me for breakfast is perfect. I put hot sauce on everything. So don't tell everybody. But
and then the fun part of this, you just set it aside in your cooler cupboard and come back to it later on when you need it. So we'll just set this over here.
All right, our spinach is done, and you're right, that goes very, very fast.
Very fast.
It sort of flies all
over.
over.
The key thing you do want to watch, though, not to overcook it. By overcooking, I mean it'll start wilting too much. So that's pretty good, because carryover cooking will keep it
perfect,
fresh.
All right.
Next thing I want to talk about is the vegetables that we're going to use for this. We'll set that aside. We're going to use 4 slices of tomato, as sliced right here.
All right.
And then we're going to use one of my favorite ingredients, the zucchini.
Okay.
The neat thing about zucchini is it can be sliced any which way, anyhow you want it. Most important thing, wash it, of course, which we've already done. The way I like to slice it is in nice, long pieces.
And then what are we going to do with this?
Then we're going to saute it.
Okay.
Same way, in the same fashion. Put that aside.
Sometimes
be very careful. Yeah, of course. You want to be very careful for the best of us.
Yeah, that's right.
So we got nice long strips, a little salt, same way. Olive oil, and
quick
goes
saute.
Very fast. About maybe not even 20 seconds. Turn. I like it crisp tender.
All right.
As most
al dente.
Vegetables. Basically al dente, yes.
And the tomatoes, I mean, most people don't saute tomatoes, so it's going to be...
I like it a quick flash. On, turn, gone, because otherwise you lose all that liquid in there.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so on to the eggs, because this is all about eggs.
So exactly.
Tell us what we're doing here.
What we're doing here is we're poaching an egg, basically getting a hot liquid to simmer point, if you want to go technical, about 180 degrees.
Okay.
Go from there. We're going to add a little bit of that acid to help coagulate the egg, make it a little bit firm.
So the water is not boiling.
So the water is not boiling, no. The best way to make it for you is to get it up to a boil, which means lots of bubbles.
Right.
And then turn it down, where it's just a little bit moving.
Okay, fantastic.
Right. What we're doing next is we're going to use my favorite organic egg.
Okay.
We're just going to take it. You can do the 2-hand method or 1-hand method, and just...
Probably for most people, it's 2-hand method.
Yeah, exactly. And then set this aside.
All right.
And then let the magic happen, as I like to call it. This
so,
usually... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you put it in very gently.
Very gently.
Okay.
Because that's the one reason about the simmering the liquid. If the liquid's too violent, it's going to start breaking up your egg white, egg yolk, and you're going to end up with a mess.
Got it.
As you see over here, as it's been simmering properly and slowly, we've got a nice, firm, but not overdone yolk, and then a nice egg white.
All right, so let's put this together. What do we do here?
Now, first you got to start off with your base. We're using a whole grain toast here.
All right.
So you can have one of two options. What I did is I cut it diagonally, and I left it untoasted, because I just like it more when the yolk breaks to get all that all that goodness, I like to call it, in there.
And then we just put everything on.
And then we just do like a little stacking system.
All right, let's do it.
I'm all about color, so I'll start first with the zucchini.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Marvelous. Oh, does this look good?
And then I will do a little tomato.
Awesome.
On top of that.
And you can see it's so fast to do.
Exactly.
Tomatoes go on. We put spinach on.
Next thing, spinach goes next.
Oh my gosh, yum!
Right here.
Can I put the egg on?
Go right ahead. I'll leave the best part for you.
This talk about healthy. I mean, that is fantastic. And then salsa to finish it.
That's salsa to finish on top.
Oh my gosh! All right. So this is perfect, and you know we're going to be tasting all these good things in just a little bit. But Frank, thank you for coming in and showing us.
Thank you for having me.
This is great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, it's time for our breakfast, and you can't miss our calories in, calories out tip. Welcome back to Let's Dish. All right, it is the time of the show when we get to eat. Frank, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So let's start with the oatmeal. We have the 2 different steel-cut oats. Mm-hmm. One with that blueberry sauce with the maple and cardamom. The other one with the walnuts and the brown sugar.
I'll go nuts first.
You're going nuts for that?
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite.
I love the steel-cut oats. Texturally, it's that chew. Mm. What do you think?
Let's see now when my palate's ready.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. You got the texture, you got that sweetness, you got that blueberry as it pops in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Got the maple in there too a little bit?
Mm.
Okay.
Get that towards the end. I like it.
Let's Dish rating on these. Where are you going to put them?
I'm more of a fan of sweet, so I have to give that a 5.
Can you give it a 5? Mm-hmm. Wonderful. You know what? That's as good as it gets. All right, let's bring the stuffed French toast in here, but it's not. What are you going to give it? Let's Dish rating.
I've got to go 5.
5 again?
I've got to go 5.
I'm like super lucky today. That doesn't happen all the time, by the way. All right, last one is your egg dish here. Now you can give that a try. I'm just going to scoop a little bit more of that salsa on top.
Don't make a mess.
And I'm making a mess all over the table here. So let's give that one a whirl. Spinach.
Got that little heat from the jalapeno.
I got to tell you what. It's that salsa that makes that dish, makes it pop, makes it come alive. Because without that little heat, we'll talk about healthy. What a way to start the day. I have to give you a Let's Dish rating on this one.
By all means.
And I got to tell you what, I'm going to give it a 4.5. I love it. I really do. It's excellent. The egg is great. The vegetables, it's perfect. All right?
Sounds good to me.
All right. It's time for a calories in, calories out tip. And this one is for you parents out there. We tell our kids that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? So after you give them their morning meal, walk them to school. It'll give you both an opportunity to work those muscles. Okay, for complete recipes and more information on anything you've seen on today's show, log on to our website, livewellhd.com, or send us an email at letsdish@livewellhd.com. Thanks for dishing with us. I'm Chris Ketke. Tune in again next time for another Let's Dish.